Awesome, great, glorious day it is. This is the day the Lord has made, and indeed we shall rejoice and be glad in it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to yet another exciting episode of the Umubanga podcast, where we aim to inform, transform, as well as inspire. Our guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is a music enthusiast. I don't know why he said enthusiast when he sings. And he is a love of making friends. He embarked on his musical journey in 2017. And since then, he's been passionate about creating connections through melodies when he's not making music. You can find him building meaningful relationships and fostering a sense of community, and giving a helping hand is one of his greatest desires and passions. Ladies and gentlemen, put your virtual hands together even as we welcome the one and only Vusi Fortune. How are you, sir?
I'm very fine, and how are you, sir?
Very well, thanks. Just move the microphone closer to you, or whichever works. Yeah. Glad to have you on the Umubanga podcast.
I'm so humbled to be here.
Yeah.
Very much humbled.
Yeah. So when you came in, I was telling you to say I actually stumbled upon your music like 3 weeks ago. Yeah. And safe to say that great things you are doing, like the level of impact. I think most of the times whenever I'm listening to songs, I get to read YouTube comments, and you get to see how this thing is just, yes, you release sounds, you release music, but this is music which is healing. This is music which is like, oh, so there's somebody who went through this situation and they overcame. God came through for them, and God will be able to come through for me. So, yeah, glad to have you here.
I'm so humbled to be here. You know, when I saw your comment, your text, I was like, oh, okay. So, okay. Let me first wait. Why is this going?
Yeah.
And then you explained. I was like, wow. For me, you coming to me, for me, that was a miracle.
Yeah.
I don't really want to wait for big miracles. For me, just that one, for me, it was a miracle.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of guys out there, and amongst those, you chose to say, okay, let me have a word with this person.
Yeah.
So for me, that was a miracle. And on that part, it's a breakthrough.
Awesome. Glad to have you here. So look, for people watching this and they're wondering, who is Vusi Fortune?
Vusi Fortune is a simple guy. I call myself Abasha Ifinya.
Yeah.
The gospel sensei. Yeah, sensei, it means teacher.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just here to teach gospel. There's a way I look at it, which is, I think, in my own world, there's a way I look at God.
Yes.
Different from what other people really portray him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm just the person that wants to take God to those people.
Yeah.
As you've already seen in my music, I talk about real life situations. So when I was starting, I prayed to God to say, when I sing, a person who understands to say, I was created for a purpose. Whether you have hands, you don't have what, you are created for a purpose. So I'm just there to just bring joy and happiness.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So growing up, were you like a singing person, or you found that you could sing later on?
No. Growing up, it was very, very different. I loved football. Okay. And I played football very, very much. And I used to see myself playing in the national team and also outside Zambia. Yeah. But I was very good. I know I was I was good. Yeah. And it happened that if a person tells me to say you'll be a pastor, or maybe you start preaching the word, I would stun the person. That's how I used to feel. Yeah. You understand? I never wanted anybody to tell me anything to do with God. Yeah. I never wanted that. And unfortunately, everything that I was running away from is a thing that, I remember this man said, he was looking for an interpreter. So he said, who can do this? Who can interpret? And everyone was quiet. And I was like, I can try. So I did that very well when I was very young. And it was like, I pray for you that you become a man of God. But I looked at him and said, if this man really knew what. Yeah. Yeah. And fortunately enough, his word came to pass.
Okay. So your upbringing, your growing up, were you, of course, everyone in Zambia, we have Christianity as our foundation,
Yes,
like
yes.
our parents. So were your parents like church people? Like every Sunday you have to go to church and...
I would dad no, mom yes.
Okay.
Yeah, mom. She's the one that really made sure that we went to church.
Okay.
Even when we did not understand why we were going there, mom made sure that we went.
Yeah.
It's only when I grew up that's when I understood to say, okay, this is the reason why mom was telling us to go to church.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm now seeing the meaning and the reason why mom always emphasized to say go to church. Dad was not that of a church person, but it was a kind of person that would not allow you to drink beer or do anything.
Yeah.
So he would tell you to say, I do this, but please don't do them.
Yeah.
Because, and he would allow you to have an overnight. Monganda, he's sleeping. Yeah, it was not that person or kapati you were praying and then he'll come, stop praying. No, he would be enjoying. So maybe you'd be praying and he'd be just there watching you.
Yeah.
So you do an overnight, he's just there watching you, and after that you go to sleep.
So did you grow up? Where did you grow up from? Like Lusaka? Which?
It was in Lusaka, but kwatiko kumwishko fidia. Yeah, so mostly.
What, Chongwe?
No, it's Lusaka West, but kumpiri sana kudia. So mostly most of the life that I lived is that of a village person.
Okay.
And I always tell my friends, I thank God I grew up in such an environment because it really helped me a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, there some of the things I'm learning them now. If I had learned them way back, nganari pena. So moke like this, yeah. So it really saved us a lot.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So now you envision yourself to be a footballer, like.
Yes.
Now walk us through your journey, like in terms of like, because I really want to understand at what point did you now venture
into music.
Music.
Okay, so when I was growing up, people used to laugh at my voice a lot. Because most of the guys that I was growing up with, they would start growing up and then the voices would go deep. Then mom would be like, what's wrong with you? Look at your friends. Their voices are going up. And I was like, oh, God, what should I do to make sure that mom also should be proud of me because of the voice? So I end up making salt to drink so that the voice should... So I used to do almost everything to make sure that mom is proud of me. So growing up, I had
insecurity.
Insecurity. Yeah. I never used to believe in myself. That was with me until I grew up.
Okay.
To say your voice is not good. So for me, if somebody tells me to say you have a very nice voice, I look at them and say, are you sure what you're saying? Because from way back, I was taught to say your voice is not good. Your voice is too small. So I used to fight with that. Yeah. So growing up, I was too much into football and I loved football very, very much. Unfortunately, when I was growing up, I started to say something to somebody who is, let's say, in Kaputa or somewhere very far.
Yes.
But I didn't know how to send the message. So I thought, maybe let me just start writing something.
Yeah.
So when I started writing something, I remember I wrote something way back called Banakabade, and I sang the song in church, and the elders started laughing, saying, what is it that you are doing? That's not music. I went home, I cried, I did what I did.
Which church were you with?
It's little UCZ.
Okay.
Yeah, I cried. I was like, oh, God, what is this? Then went back, I sang, and they were, you're just making noise, please. Yes. Then there's a song I wrote called Mama. I sang in church and everyone was in tears. I was like, yeah, I think this is it. So I remember praying to God, say, God, I don't want to sing like these other guys. I know they're already there. But give me a song that will preach to somebody or to speak to a person's story. Yeah. Let's say a person who lost the father and the father was the one that was paying for her or him at school. How am I going to bring God and tell the person to say God is God in that situation? How is he going to understand the goodness of God in that situation? So God now gave me a story to tell, then bring him, put him in that song.
Okay, so look, you were bullied for having a small voice.
Yes.
Because you can't there's no bass.
Yeah. Imagine.
Yeah, there's no bass.
Yeah.
Now, because look, I'm thinking through to say, how do you convince yourself that I can sing? Did God speak to you in a dream and be like, hey, Vusi, use your voice and sing? Like, how did that come about? Because look, our insecurities limit us.
Yes,
because
true.
if somebody is making fun to say, oh, you have double teeth, like I'll fail to smile.
Yeah.
Well, I love
True.
laughing.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but because when those things are thrown at you, like they stick, and then they make you not explore and do different things. Now, how did you, with this small voice, decide? Because I know the gift of writing should have been there, where you
Yes,
just
yes.
like
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
melodies, you're
Yeah,
creating sounds
sure,
in your
sure.
head, but now speaking them out, singing them out, and singing them in church. Worse off, this is at churches. You have choirs, you have praise teams, you have the boys' brigade, you have all these things, right? You have all these groups which
Yes,
can
yes,
sing,
yeah.
and your first experience, you go on stage, they laugh at you,
Yeah,
and
true.
all that. So, how, like that mindset, like what convinced you to say, "Hey, I think I should"?
The one that played a very big role in my life was my mother. I think she reached a point where she realized to say, this is how my son is.
Yes.
Yes. And she started encouraging me now, saying, God has created people differently.
Yes.
So either you have a deep voice or a voice like that, God created you for a purpose.
Yeah.
So you really have to find your purpose. So now I would hear voices in my head. I would see people visiting in my house. Like they would come, let's say 1,000. They would sit in the sitting room, as small as this.
Yeah.
And then I would just be the only one seeing them. So they would be saying things. They would talk and tell mom, say, this is what I'm saying. So mom was a person that, in as much as she was not that deep into spirit, she understood. So she would tell me to say, go to the bedroom. So I would go there and they would follow. So they would start telling me this. And at one point, I remember sharing it with one pastor from a Pentecostal church, and he told me to say "Wulo shubo," and I was scared because I never wanted that to happen to me.
Well, as you say, during the village
Yes,
part of
yes,
Lusaka,
yes.
so
Yeah. So there was no other person that would encourage you to say, okay, this is it. So if I had people to guide me or to lead me in a certain direction, I think I would have developed that gift at an early age.
Yes.
Yeah. So they would say "Wulo shubo." So because of that, if they visit me, I used to chase them. Say, go, I don't want to see you. So they would go maybe for a year, 4 months. Sometimes I would just see elderly people with those beards and bald head. Yeah, they would just seated planning on how they are going to raise a community. And they will show you, those people are preparing to go and hunt. So I used to see those things. You understand? So sometimes I just go.
and worse off, you're dreaming spears.
Yeah, imagine. So I would go in the bush.
Yeah.
And just start imagining me praying for the trees. Like I would be calling names in the trees, in the mountain. And if someone finds me, I'm guys in a tampon. And I never understood why I was laid into the bush to start doing that. I never understood. And I reached at a point where I stopped moving in the road because I used to talk to myself. Like I'm there talking, I'm seeing somebody that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
I remember I was walking and then I'm talking. And I didn't know to say there was a woman that had been calling me for maybe 10 minutes. And I could not hear her until she came and touched me. And then, why are you talking to yourself? I didn't know that I was talking to myself. So from there, if I have anything or something wants to be shared with me, I used to use a road that no one was passing through. So it is in that point I realized to say the pen that people used to give me when I was having that voice, let me use that pen to start doing the music.
Okay.
So when you hear my music, it's quite different. Me, I do a song that I've been taught to do.
Okay.
Yes, so they'll give me a song, and then I'll get the song, I'll write it down. I'll approach 2 or 3 people that have done my theology so that I don't go away from the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
So approach them, say, okay, they'll control me, and then I'll put that I'll release the song. Whether it will reach one person or two people, for me, I believe to say that's the intended people that God wanted me to reach out. Yes.
Awesome. Okay. That's a whole journey. Revelation, God coming to speak himself.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So what was, you said your first song was Vana Kabale.
Yes.
Okay, and then the reception was
they started laughing.
Yes. So why did they laugh?
I think when the time I was bringing out such kind of songs,
yes.
it was not the thing that was there.
Yes.
Like,
and which year was that?
I think that was somewhere 2009, 8.
Okay.
Yeah. Those things were not there.
Okay.
Yeah, people were into. Yeah, you understand. Yes. So when you bring to say, why are you calling your friend Vana Kabale? Why are you doing that? You're putting on a uniform, but you're showing this. Why are you doing that?
What uniform were you wearing? Boys Brigade or?
Yeah, Boys Brigade.
Or so, MCF.
Yeah. So I'd say you put on, you say you put on Urubuto, but why are you doing this? So I was putting that in a song.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, there are no such songs. So like, you understand? So I was like, okay, but why was I given such kind of revelation if there are no songs like this?
Yeah.
And so I went home, cried. Then another word was given to me. So I was delivering, but also I was also hating these people. Right. So I remember I was invited to go and sing at Nipa.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that time Tio was there, and the Divine Tribe was also there. Yeah. I don't know whether those the Divine Tribe or what, but they were doing gospel.
Yes, they were doing gospel, but it was more dancehall, and then Tio, it was more R&B. Yes.
I just didn't want to mess up the name. Yes. Yeah, so I remember when we were called, we went on the stage, but for now I don't call it a stage. Anywhere I stand, I call it an altar.
Yes.
Yeah. So I stood there. Then I wanted first to greet the people.
Yes.
The moment I spoke, this lady, even now when I speak about this experience, I always see her seated. She was putting on a blue jean and a white t-shirt. Yeah, I always see her sitting because she was a bit big. So she had taken a bit of space. The moment I spoke, she laughed. And knowing very well that where I'm coming from, that background of people, pointing, she laughed, I'm telling you. So when I said, please, people, let me say something. And she went like, ha, ha. The moment I said, please, people, and she went like, ha. Then she knelt. Tears started dropping. And then one tear came and spoke to say, guys, let this guy speak. Let this guy sing. He has something to offer. And then one guy from the Divine also came and said, you guys, you are here at college and you should behave like, one. And she was just laughing. So the moment I wanted to drop down, they called me back. Then I sang a song called Mama. Yes. Apparently, she had just lost the mother. And that song spoke to her. And instead of crying to laugh, she cried. Everything about her cried. The tears, the nose, the mouth, everything. And she couldn't stand. She was just taken out. Yep. And then somebody said, you see, she was laughing at your voice, but the moment you sang, your voice spoke to her spirit. Yep. So don't let anything bring you down. Let your voice speak to people's spirit. Yep. So from there, I said, okay, this is not just music. For me, this is a calling and this is a gift. Yep. So I have to use it wisely as I'm going out there.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. So I can imagine there's as well some level of insecurity,
Very much.
Do you still experience that now? Like being invited on these podiums with these well-known gospel artists and...
No, right now I now understand and I now know where I'm standing. I have understood and I've accepted my calling. Yeah. So with me, when I'm invited with these big people, the good part is that when I'm home, I'm told to say, where you going? You're going to speak to two people.
Yes.
So in Shaba Kweda Tinganaimba, Avansta Be Mine, Jankalipa, me, I'm not like that. when I minister, I know to say those two people that I was told to go and minister to, they're in the audience. And I've ministered to them. And this came about when I was invited, and that was Choma.
Yes.
I was invited there. I went there and I sang. The sound system was terrible.
Yes.
It was bad. I reached there. I sang. The voice could not come out the way I wanted it to. Everything was just messed up. So after I sang, then I went and sat. I started praying, God, why did you bring me here? You told me to say I'm going to this and this and this. So as I was praying, a woman came and sat next to me with a daughter. And she was in tears. And she started explaining to say, my son, this song that you've just ministered to, I have been having grudges with this kind of people. And I told myself I would never forgive them.
Yes.
But the fact that I've heard you speak, just here, I went outside, called those people, and we have reconciled. Yes. Thank you so very much. I looked at the woman, I was like, God, I was complaining here. And the good part was the man of God that called me was listening to everything.
Yes.
And that was a 3-day conference. And he came to me and told me, so Vusi, the fact that this message has been preached to this woman, even if you decided to go today, I would honor that you came. And I was like, wow. So from that day, I told myself to say, God, even if you send me Munshi Achimut, I will sing as if I'm looking at 7,000 people.
Yeah.
So if I've been invited, and in church there are 2 people, I don't hold it back. I sing as if I'm seeing the full church, because I see no value if someone sings to thousands of people and they just end up dancing. And I sing to 4 people and the 4 people come back to God. Yeah. For me, those with 4 has done a lot of justice than those that were just dancing.
Awesome. That's the point, because many times we get lost in the numbers, in the fame, in the we feel we're not doing the most. It's I'm reminded of the story of David and Saul. Saul killed 1,000.
David killed 10,000.
But we get that, and as you rightly put it, that when you understand your assignment and your role, you're not for everything.
Sure.
Which brings me to, as I said, I listened to your music 3 weeks ago for the first time, right? And getting through the comments and seeing. But then one thing which I saw is that, because I as well do get to listen to Christian radio, and then I don't hear you, but your songs are in the hundreds of thousands of views,
yes.
So I'm like, where are the people coming from? One of your songs, I think, which still stands, I think, to be the biggest, Chilemba, is close to 1 million. It's going to 1 million.
Yes.
When in your writing, even you putting out these songs, because I do. When did you first write Chilemba?
When was that?
Because I saw that before the official music video came out, there were other performances you do in church.
So what happens with me is that I can write a song for 2 years. Yes. There is a song that I wrote for 5 years. Then I came to put it in this album.
Okay.
It's called Ukuchula. Yes. And then so Chilemba, I think I wrote Chilemba for 5 months.
Okay.
So there are some words that I used to put in, and then as I'm singing it, I'm removing, putting, depending on the voices that I'm receiving. Yeah. So the moment I put something out, it means I'm done hearing those voices. I'll put it out there. I think I did that song in 2018. Yeah, somewhere there.
Okay.
Yes, 2018. That's when I did Chile.
And it's still ministering to people. It's still working. What inspired the writing of that song? Is it something which you went through? Were you the seeds which were buried and then they didn't know that they would grow?
One thing I learned was Chilemba is is something that is found in every household.
Yes.
So if I'd said sausage nankapenta,
It wasn't going to, yes.
So I
but
saw
beans na I did do no so I don't know load shedding. Like for you to just even cook it, you need more charcoal to so.
So I saw mom doing throwing the bad ones.
Yes.
And I think in that period, the bad ones that she collected was a lot.
Yes.
And then she just wanted to throw it. So the friend said, "Beleni beans it So mom hearing a friend saying that, was like, no, so she went and made imputa, Then she planted. And at the end of the day, it came out so beautiful, such that she started telling people, not to kula pitira koko.
Yes.
Not to kula pitira koko. So as I was there, I started learning something. You know, when a rubbish pit, umuganda, so we are throwing rubbish there and everything. If something valuable starts to germinate, even the surrounding will be respected.
Yes.
So the place that mom was throwing chilemba on, it wasn't that respected. But the moment chilemba grew, she told people to say, don't throw anything, because something valuable started to germinate. So sometimes when we look at ourselves and we think we're not doing anything, if God lifts you up, let's say in a family of drunkards, God says, you stop drinking, I'm going to put you as a minister.
Yeah.
Even those people that surround you, that's our brother, he's a minister. That's our father,
it's like
he's a
now
president.
Everybody from the village part of Lusaka is associated with him.
Yes, you understand.
We always believed in him.
Like, why? Because
he had a great voice, but then challenge. You say like life is funny. Like you are made fun of, and then when you break through in that line,
and everyone
like,
was on
we
to us.
always believed in you. Like,
we knew. So that's the way it is. You know, when something valuable starts to germinate, everything, the surrounding becomes respected.
Yeah.
So even the surrounding that Chilemba was buried on became so respectful, such that mom buried every hole that was there.
Yeah.
So when God, whether you were a prostitute, whether you were a drunkard, when God lifts you, He start mending all those parts that people were calling.
Yeah.
The time that you realize somebody's called a pastor, somebody's called a prophet, somebody's called a teacher, because God has lifted you. So that's the Chilemba song talks about.
Yeah.
I'm just using a story of what happened and bring God, how He looks at people.
Yeah.
Because in as much as we don't love it, even those people that we condemn, God is just waiting for that time, saying, let this child come. And I was looking at a soul, because if one man comes to God, they say there's a celebration in heaven.
Yes.
So how expensive is a soul? If God can say, let there be silence.
Yes.
Stop whatever you're doing. Somebody has given a life. This is someone who has everything, all the monies that we can talk of. He says, stop everything. Somebody has given his life. So how expensive is a soul? So if we understand how expensive is a soul, we will not be making fun of a puppet.
Yeah.
We will take it serious when we stand there, because the soul is expensive, no money can buy.
Yeah.
If God Himself can say, wait, let's say the bread first.
Yeah.
Imagine if, say, Umubanga is coming and the president says, guys, since Umubanga is coming, today is a holiday.
Yeah.
So people would don't know, say, who's Umubanga, guys? What does he do? Yes. You understand? They would want to know what you do for the president to say, let that be a holiday.
Yeah.
You understand? So that's how I look at it. So it's very expensive, such that we should not even play with it.
Yeah.
So if you understand it from that angle, then we'll respect each and every person that comes our way.
Awesome. So on a normal day, like, what's your normal day like? Like, I need to understand, like, I'm a revelation where they come from. Some of us, we just throw the beans, like, you just like...
Yeah.
Because I do know... How many albums do you have?
I have two.
Two?
Yes.
Okay. I know...
There's Nina Neshiru.
Yes.
And there's Chilemba.
Okay.
So Chilemba is an album. Also Nina Neshiru is an album.
Okay. Yes. So I was coming to talk about the Ninaneshilu, like that whole writing process, because sometimes I'm always like, she were just looking for crazy people like around the area, or like what's the writing process?
So
like what's your day to day like? Let's start from here. Like, so when you wake up, what do you do? Like, yes,
on a normal day, if I was very, very tired, like this past let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday, if I was very tired, then on a Monday I would just switch off everything, then sleep the whole day, and I can't even eat. Sometimes I don't even eat. Maybe I'll just eat once in the evenings. Then the following day it just goes on normal, just like that. Look for what to do, chase things here and there. Then if you find them, it's okay. If you don't find them, you try another day. That's the way it is. I always say there are people that we're with together, let's say grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, and some people died at birth. Some people died when you're in grade 4. For God to let me live until this time, it means He has a purpose. And if as long as I'm in His His right track, is going to take care of me. Me, my own thing is just to try. God, you've seen, I've tried. Do your will. This is where my power is ending. He will do. It can't keep me this long for Him to just let me be. I always say, if you send a child to go and buy tomatoes, ngafika kumusebo tarindira ti nasha tomato and then I remain there. No, the child will buy and then go back home. So that's the way it is. If God sent you here, definitely if you are done with your work, whether you do it at 2 or 3, you go back to go and report, this is what I did. So for Him to keep me until this time, it means there's something that I've not yet done.
So now, Ninaneshilu, like, was it based off a true story?
Yes. Okay. I was working, and I saw this smart person, and as I saw him, I also compared some person to my cousin, because my cousin doesn't work. She was born like that. So the way I call her mom, the way mom loves her, it's just out of this world. So people are like, whatever got them one and mom just calls her a daughter. Mom just calls her a child. So I'm looking at myself and say, okay, if this is how God looks at us, I'm a sinner, a serious one. If God really used His might and His judgment as God, I don't think anyone can live, because He will just look at each and everything. If a person can find a fault in me, what of God? You understand? So if I'm a sinner and God sees a child in me, then definitely this is how it is. So Ninaneshilu is just a reflection of the love of God. The way a mother would love a person that is mad and call a child a blessing. That's how God looks at us. Because we have a lot of mad people here. Some people come in church with suits, but mumutima untu alamba and God says, you understand? So if only we can look at each other. I'm looking at the story of a woman that was caught into adultery and was brought before Jesus Christ. Said, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees just saw a woman that broke a law that somebody was, but Jesus Christ saw a child. And He said, if only we can look at each other with the love of Christ, I'm telling you, no church would be empty. All the churches would be full. Now the problem is, we talk about love, yet we are so far away from what we talk about. This is how I look at it. In church, you can go in church today with a torn trousers. People will just laugh at you. And you come back. Vananku valava akamba chilibe unga kunyumba ichai ayo mpatseko zali mkaiza aenda kulie unga ala vule mpia atwala kunganda chitovunga. Do you think the wife will encourage the husband to go to church or to go to the bar? She will definitely go where you got that 100 kwacha. Go and interact. Church people would come after the church service. The pastor was so good at preaching at love your neighbors, you love yourself. Vakomboka, they would just go into their Porsche cars, put their AC and everything. You're going the same direction. Vala kupitirira. Vachakula vakamba vala sendana 7 muri Corolla. Musiako somewhere vanga mubunge mgaizo. You understand? Yes. And in Acts they said that when the apostles came together, no one lacked among them. You understand? Yes. So those that didn't have, they made sure that those that didn't have, they brought to give those that didn't have. So me as Christians, we are not doing that. Those people who don't even know Christ are the ones that are practicing those things. Then which love are we talking about? You understand? So if only we can look at each other the way God looks at us with that love, I think we will bring a lot of people to Christ. Because it's a problem when a child is in problem and runs away from home. Then that's a house. That's not home. Yes. You understand? A child has to come back to you. The father said, Daddy, this is the mess I've put myself into.
So it's like the prodigal son.
Yes.
It's like, no, let me just go back.
Yes.
Later I'll be called a servant, but then I'll have a proper
So
place.
he understood to say, that's my father, is nowhere. So if a person, and the person decides to run away from the church, goes to a witch doctor, then there's a problem with the church. I always tell people that if you hear a story that you spoke about in the house, outside, someone in the house took this story. You'd find that us believers are the ones in forefront talking about a brother who just went away out of the road. Us Christians are the ones who are taking the stories out there. And the people in the world are like, guys. You understand? So how do we convince people to say God is love if what we talk about is hatred in form of love? So these are the things that I look at and I say, okay, I better speak what God has told me rather than impressing someone who's out there. I'm not going for multitudes. If I can change one person can manage to influence the whole country. Yeah. So if I can change the mind of one person, then I've done a lot. Because I know the generation in his line are safe.
Awesome. Yes. Awesome. This has been great. Like the conversation has been great, and just being able to pick your mind and understand where these songs come from. Because look, day to day, we will look at a lot of things.
Yeah, true.
But we don't make sense of them most of the times. We just be like, oh, I'm a dobache my paper. But you're singing a song, you're singing a revelation. God is speaking through all that.
No, God is just in his own way. I was thinking that if a coffin maker is praying to God to say business here and deny somewhere it is, and someone in the hospital praying, I don't want to die. You understand? If you were a man, which one would you answer? Because even the coffin maker, in his line, there are people that look after dead bodies in the mortuary and everything. So even those people that look after the graves, if this person is not blessed, the coffin maker, it means even the people mortuary, they won't do anything. Even the grave makers will not get anything. Even the
whole cycle.
You understand. So because God is God, he will find a way to make sure that he sustains those that are praying for a long life and those that are praying for business.
You know, actually thinking about it, do we have any coffin makers who come to church? Like, I would really want to. But then we'll label them as Satanists because...
Yes, you understand. Even a pastor, if someone says, "Go, I want my business to..." Because in your praying, you have to pray that certain people should die. So you understand.
Anyways, I think the consolation for me is always scripture says that it is appointed unto man that yes life, but then death is still coming.
Yeah, so. That's why God now comes into.
But then I don't know. Is it like by fire, by force, like die by fire, like? Anyways, to each his own. Yeah. You have a new song coming up.
Yes, I have a new song coming up, though it's different from what people were expecting.
Yes.
And I'm really receiving a very, very bad response.
Yes.
Yeah. So some responses are threatening. Yeah, but for me, I believe I was given that song by God. And for me, I call it gospel. So I don't know why, whatever people will say, for me, that's gospel because... I believe gospel, it's God knows. So in my own interpretation, that's gospel.
Okay. When is it supposed? When is it?
It will be out next week.
Okay.
Yeah, though I've received a lot of threats. Some people are saying your career is ended.
Well, Jojo Mangaza said tamwaka ndowe, tamwaka nkwanishe, nalifisa mamuli baya. Okay. Awesome. Yes. We hope and pray that it will reach the right ears. I think most songs are not meant for everybody.
True.
They're meant for specific ears. I think we sometimes miss it because we want everybody to listen to it. There has to be specific ears.
Yeah, it's not everyone that will appreciate. Those that are meant to listen to it, they will appreciate it. Those that are looking at it from their own interpretation, then they'll find it hard to believe it. Yes.
Awesome stuff. I've greatly enjoyed having a conversation with you.
Thank you so very much.
And the fact that this is our first time meeting. So, yeah.
No, I'm so humbled to be here. I'm very much humbled.
Yeah.
Just to think of me to come here, it's a blessing. For me, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
Out of all people.
Yeah.
So you just didn't stumble on my music for just a mistake. For me, that wasn't a mistake. I know great things are going to be born from this.
Definitely. So, this has been great. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much for having me here.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you have been informed, transformed, as well as inspired unto greater works. Go check out Vusi Fortune's music. Be blessed. Be impacted. Know that, yes, you were thrown away. You were put off. You didn't have a name. You lost it. You made mistakes. But God will still come through. God will still heal you. God will still transform you into his likeness. I love you, but the good Lord loves you more. Bye-bye.